Hey there, everyone. That sexy nerd is back again, and we're watching something slightly different. I know I haven't covered a lot of animal stuff lately. I do need to get back into casual geographic, but I thought I'd do more prehistoric stuff. I've always loved prehistoric stuff. It's like I love dinosaurs. And I honestly love this little page called Eons. It's one of my favorite sites to watch prehistoric content and everything. Even though there's many more, there's Dr. Polaris, Extinct Zoo, and many others. But Eons is probably like my favorite because it's from PBS, and these guys, they have the best information. They always have very entertaining videos, and they always make get a lot of views. I thought I'd cover some of these videos just in case, and react to some of these videos. If that's what you're interested in, I will be doing more. I also have another video coming up, hopefully, if you guys receive this well, from Benji Thomas. He's doing the Ballad of Big Al, Walking with Dinosaur special. And if that video is well received, then what I'll do is I will cover the other Walking with Dinosaurs specials. And hopefully it goes into prehistoric beasts as well, which would be fantastic because it's my favorite Walking With special. But anyway, this is a video on Leviathan. This is a sperm whale that is probably about as big as a megalodon, but the thing is, it has teeth on both the top and the bottom of its mouth, not just the bottom like sperm whales do today. No, it comes from a line of differently evolved sperm whales that were pretty scary and pretty trying to take over the oceans, basically. But it actually did have to contend with Megalodon, even though there's no record of these two fighting. They still could have interacted with each other, but not. You didn't come here to hear me speak. So why don't we just get into the video? And remember, please smash that like button if you want to see more sexy and nerdy content. And subscribe if you think I deserve it. And remember, sign up for my Patreon for all my latest reactions to all my latest videos.
In 2008, the skull of a large ocean dweller was found high in a Peruvian desert. Embedded in the massive skull,
Yeah,
which
look at
measured
that thing.
about
It
3
doesn't even
meters
look like a
long,
sperm whale.
were teeth that seemed to belong to a relative of the modern sperm whale. But there was something different about them. For starters, they were bigger, much bigger. Some were up to 36 centimeters long, so they clearly came from a gigantic predator, bigger than any whale so far discovered.
Jeez.
The creature was so evocative of monstrous mythical whales that scientists eventually named it Leviathan melvillei, after the biblical sea monster and the author of Moby Dick. English major, yo. I got that reference right away. But unlike in fiction, giant whales don't emerge fully formed from the ocean deep. So where did Leviathan come from? How did such a large predator live? And what caused the titan to die out? Tracing the rise and fall of Leviathan reveals a sea monster so hungry, it might have eaten itself to extinction.
Really?
About 25 million years ago, in the late Oligocene epoch, a group of whales originated known as Physetoroidea. At first glance, they were indistinguishable from other toothed whales at the time, meaning those with teeth rather than the long fibrous baleen found in filter feeders like blue whales. One of the earliest members of the Physetoroids was Pheracetotherium, which lived in the shallow sea between what's now the Black and Caspian Seas. But one way that Pheracetotherium and its descendants were unique was a large, strange organ atop their heads, filled with literal tons of a waxy substance called spermaceti. This organ's exact function is still debated by scientists. Two common hypotheses are that it assists with vocalization and echolocation, or it may help these whales dive deeper. See, spermaceti has a low melting point, so when the whale is resting, it's a liquid. But with just a few degrees drop in temperature, it turns to a solid and helps whales sink. These sperm whales were part of a larger family of toothed whales called the Odontocetes, which was diversifying widely since appearing around 38 million years ago. Also getting more diverse were the baleen whales. Both groups were generally modestly sized by, whale standards, with Pheracetotherium measuring about 5 meters long. But by about 13 million years ago,
Wow,
in the early
Brigmo
Miocene
Physeter.
epoch, sperm whales appeared around the world, with genera like Brigmo Physeter and later with Zygo Physeter. And while these new whales had the spermaceti organ too, they differed from earlier ancestors like Pherecytotherium in that they had huge
Dwarffish.
teeth. And yes, all whale teeth are pretty massive. But these teeth were also proportionally huge, measuring up to 20 centimeters long and over 5 centimeters wide for Psychophyseter. Thanks to their giant teeth, scientists refer to this group of sperm whales as macroraptorial whales. That is great branding. And researchers
Really?
think that they fed using the grip and shear method, grabbing onto prey and ripping off a chunk of flesh, which allowed them to consume large prey relative to their body size. One group of scientists has suggested that these giant bites were so intense that they produced bony outgrowths on the inside of the whales' mouths to help buttress against the intense bite forces. Now, these macroraptorial feeders weren't alone in the waters. Other sperm whales evolved at the same time who, curiously, completely lacked an upper set of teeth. Rather than shearing flesh, these whales used their lack of upper teeth to trap prey, like squid, before suctioning them up whole, known as suction feeding. But it was a macroraptorial grip and shear feeding strategy that seemed to be most successful at the time, because over the next few million years, the macroraptorial group started getting larger. And around 10 million years ago, the almost 18-meter-long Leviathan emerged, lording over the world's oceans, which were filled with everything from miniature baleen whales to aquatic giant sloths. Leviathan was truly a master of its domain. With a skull longer than an average human, evolution had produced the biggest-toothed, most hypercarnivorous whale ever known.
Wow.
But with all that bulk to support, what did such a giant whale eat? Say it with me. Whatever it wanted, of course. And here's where the diversity of whales at this time comes in. During this period, there were tons of different filter-feeding baleen whales as well. These were not the massive whales we know today. Instead of 30-meter-long giants,
small.
these smaller ancient filter feeders like Pelocetus often measured just a fraction of that, around
crazy.
12 meters long. A size that would have made them excellent prey for Leviathan, which almost certainly ate both baleen filter-feeding whales and their own toothed whale relatives.
Really?
Also included in Leviathan's diet, pretty much everything.
Everything.
Sharks, seals, fishes, you name it. Although paleontologists have yet to find direct evidence of predation by Leviathan on other animals like bite marks, they see evidence that Leviathan's jaws experienced especially intense bite forces through that additional bone growth around the teeth. So given this impressive size and feeding strategy, Leviathan must have been the dominant predator of the water 10 million years ago, right? Well,
No,
not
well,
quite.
Megalodon.
During the late Miocene, there existed not only the giant predatory Leviathan, but also the most famous of sharks, Otodus megalodon. Estimated to be around 20 meters long and with teeth the size of your hands, Megalodon was more than equal to Leviathan as far as biting went. The existence of both giants
slightly
demonstrates
bigger.
that there was such an abundance of prey, both predators could be supported. And while there's no direct evidence of interactions between Megalodon and Leviathan, their comparable size and likely similar prey selection means the two titans certainly encountered each other. Yet, this enormous mash of monsters wouldn't last. When we look around the world today, we might notice a conspicuous lack of giant sharks and sperm whales. So, what happened to them all? The exact details about how Leviathan went extinct are still unclear. What is known is that, beginning around 5 million years ago and lasting until just 10,000 years ago, the world experienced a substantial uptick in the extinction rate of marine megafauna, one that peaked between 3.8 and 2.4 million years ago. Some scientists suggest that this die-off might be related to dramatically changing sea levels at the end of the Pliocene due to growing glaciers in the northern hemisphere. With so much more of Earth's water frozen in polar ice caps, what had formerly been productive shallow coastal habitats became dry land. And the drying out of coastal habitats not only eliminated physical space for marine life, it also deprived marine ecosystems of a great deal of nutrients. It's possible that given the high caloric requirements of a superpredator like Leviathan, any change in ecosystem productivity could be especially devastating. Given the cost of fueling its massive body, any disruption to even the smaller whale's population could have caused it to die out. Some researchers, however, advise caution in interpreting this die-off event, because marine fossils from coastal areas are preserved and collected at higher rates, so it might make evolutionary patterns observed in coastal areas overrepresented in our interpretation of the marine fossil record. But if a lot of their prey was becoming less abundant, such big, hungry hypercarnivores would have been extra vulnerable. And while there's a range of hypotheses surrounding the giant's extinction, some researchers have suggested that Leviathan's own success may have contributed to its downfall. Leviathan, together with Megalodon and other superpredators that swam the Miocene oceans, put enormous pressure on their main prey animals, the medium-sized baleen whales. Some scientists suggest that this could have spurred the evolution of increasingly large baleen whales, potentially leading to the giants we know today. As baleen whales
But
increased in size and smaller coastal
wouldn't
forms
they have
died
more to
out,
eat?
there were likely fewer and fewer snack-sized whales for Leviathan. And while the fossil record is a fickle thing and it's hard to tell when the last of the species disappeared, Leviathan and its kin definitely vanished by the Pliocene epoch, about 5 million years ago. Megs held on just a little longer, until about 3.6 million years ago. The extinction of the macroraptorial sperm whales was followed by the rapid diversification of modern dolphins and orcas, who seemingly evolved to take over at least part of their evolutionary niche. So the extinction of Leviathan and Megalodon left a permanent mark on ocean food chains. And all that's left of a once vastly diverse group are the 3 modern sperm whale species around today. These whales, like the most common species alive today, Physeter microcephalus, do share the spermaceti organ with their ancestors. But their feeding habits are different from the massive macroraptorial sperm whales that once ruled the ocean. In a twist of fate, this group once differed the most from the rest, the suction feeders. As Leviathan and the rest of the macroraptorial sperm whales passed into the fossil record, it was the suction feeders that went on to become the stuff of myth and literature, reminding us that being a massively sized predator can be an advantage until it isn't. And being such a hungry sea monster can ultimately lead to species downfall.
What a fascinating story. I honestly always, I want to contribute to something like that. Like, I've always heard that orcas, like, they did evolve around that time. So I feel like the evolution of orcas, because orcas are very efficient predators, and they're able to take on these bigger whales, and regardless of how small they are, and they're also small enough to get away from a single huge, big, or solitary hunter. Because I would imagine that the sperm whale does not, that the Leviathan wouldn't hunt in pods. It could, but it also seems like a single feeder and everything. And if it did, I feel like it should have endured a little bit longer. So maybe it's a solitary hunter. But I love this kind of stuff, and I want to do more of it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and please smash that like button if you want to see more sexy and nerdy content, and subscribe if you think I deserve it. And remember, sign up for my Patreon for all my latest reactions to all my latest videos. And I'll see you on the next episode.